Okay, morning, folks. Welcome to the briefing on Saturday the 17th. It's already about 21 degrees out there, so it's going to be a scorching day today, and even hotter tomorrow by the looks of the forecast. So this high pressure system has finally rolled in, not classic high really, in the sense that we'd see things roll in, get good for a day or two, and then stabilize. It's sort of fairly stable in here, and it's purely driven by heat, but we'll get some soaring today. And you've got all these fronts rolling round it. But this is the midday chart. You can see very light winds, northeasterly drift down through here, round the high, but large spacing on the isobars, so not very strong even at flying heights. Pressure 1028, and it's been steady at that for a day or so. TAFs, I think the TAF for Farnborough is even shorter than yesterday. So it basically says 0605 knots light east northeasterly, and Cav OK, which means nothing below 5,000 feet. And looking at the places near us, Gatwick, Heathrow, they're all saying Cav OK. But then out to the west, Bristol was giving few at 4.5. So there seems to be a bit of a divide in the weather where the cumulus are going to be and where it's going to be blue. Light winds at flying heights right in the centre of the high, 5 knots northeasterly. A little bit stronger down across the channel here. So I suspect over us it's going to be somewhere between 5 to 10 knots from 050, 060. So east, south, east, northeasterly. SatPic just shows it's clear, and we had this same effect yesterday with sort of sea fog showing up on the early SatPic, and that'll burn off just on the sort of Norfolk coast and Kent as well. And there's nothing on the infrared particularly to show any high cirrus lurking about. So temperatures are building fairly quickly. Max today, 28, I reckon, in here. And it looks like tomorrow is going to get up to around about 30 degrees. Not dropping down particularly overnight as well. So it'll be sort of 20 degrees overnight, still fairly warm. Playing with those numbers, and the dew points are fairly low. They're around 11s, 10s at the moment. Playing with those numbers, you can look at the soundings for round here, or just slightly south of here, and see that the lines here are fairly well spaced apart. So if you plug in sort of 24 degrees, which I think is what we're going to need to get things really going today, up to about 3,000 feet, and looking at this, there'd be little chance of cumulus. As the day goes on, these lines stay well apart. And again, plugging in the temperature, 28 degrees gives about 4 to 4,500 feet. Going further north and a little bit west, lines are a bit close together. So here's sort of the Bicester, Oxford area. Talking about cumulus there, I would have thought that's 1 o'clock. Small amounts of cumulus, around about 4,000 feet. Top's not very high, 4.5, 5 maybe. And the same sort of picture in the afternoon, lines closer together. So there seems to be a divide of a line sort of just west of here where we might see cumulus, and then to the north where we probably will see cumulus, and then east of us it's going to be blue. Top Meteo picked it up slightly differently, and it's a matter of interpretation really. I've just had a look at the actual ascents that were taken overnight, just to try and get a feeling of what the air is actually like for real. And both Camborne and Herstmonceux show a very, very strong inversion that's going to take about 24 degrees to break. And then you see the line just follows up here. It's not unstable. It goes this way a little bit, but it's sort of fairly stable air all the way up. So the thermals are just driven by heat. The hotter it gets, the higher they'll generally go. And it doesn't normally bode well for great thermals when you get this kind of stable air mass. So yes, it will get soarable at 24 degrees, maybe 25. And it will slowly get better as the temperature goes up, but it won't be strong conditions. I think probably 2 to 3 knot thermals would be an average in this sort of air mass. Top Meteo, they're sort of suggesting by 12 o'clock it's getting going around here, and that was the case yesterday. It took a while to get sort of really hot enough to develop proper thermals, and then by sort of 1 o'clock we're going up to 3,000 feet. Then by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon it's talking about 1,400, maybe 1,500 meters, so up to 4,500 feet in this area here. They're showing the cumulus. It's going from 1 o'clock. They're showing cumulus out to the northwest, and it remains in that area there. I think it's hit and miss. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see cumulus here, folks. Small amount, very small amounts, blue with odd bits of cumulus, more Q out to the northwest. So their suggested distance today, as you would imagine, is a line up here under where the cumulus is going to be. They're showing it a little bit breezy down here. I think it's going to be breezier down on the coast and a little bit to the east of us. So day that will take a while to get going with the heating, probably gone 12 o'clock before it gets sensibly soarable. Tend to find on these days they shut off quite quickly. So 5 o'clock, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't start shutting itself down fairly rapidly. But you know, a reasonable day, but hot and getting hotter tomorrow. So the predicted distance for tomorrow, that's definitely gone down from what it was 24 hours ago. And again, it's just purely driven by heat. So operationally, folks, we're on the main runway 09 for club operations, and the grid on the north side starting at the fuel pumps. If you're flying something like an Arcus or a JS1 21 meter fully ballasted, I would suggest you go to the runway, folks, and we'll launch you from there, given the options of the heat and the trees at the end of the airfield. The rest of the gliders should be fine. And we'll launch the grid when we think we can get going. Airspace wise, just one locally, which is a fly past at 155 to 255 at Kingsclear. Don't know what it is. Might be Battle of Britain Memorial flight, something like that. And the main one, well, there's two actually. Silverstone. You've got restrictions at Silverstone for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Restricted airspace, and today it's from 9 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the evening. And this is the AIC that relates to it. It shows you the dimensions of this. There's an electronic file on the Husbos website, which, by the way, doesn't cover the Red Arrows RAT for tomorrow. They're displaying there, but that's the dimensions of it. And I think we have some paper copies in the office if you want to pick one of those up. Other NOTAM is Old Warden. Now they've got an air display. It's all day, but from 17:15 to 21:45 nighttime, they have restricted airspace up to 3,500 feet, a radius of 3 nautical miles. So air display during the day, but actually the full air display has a restricted airspace from early or late afternoon, early evening. And really, folks, that is about it in this area here. Paragliding all over the place, but nothing else going on particularly. So hopefully see you out on the grid and start getting the club gliders out. It's going to be a nice day, and we'll make the most of it.